Coach, first half, was that any carryover of some of the stuff you saw in the days between Selection Sunday and the first round game, or what did you see from?
Yeah. Don't want to make it sound like an excuse, because there's no excuses. I mean, you know, if your leg hurts real bad, it's not an excuse. And if, you know, I have no feeling in my right hand, it's no excuse. There's no excuses in sports, you know. But the truth of what I've seen is, ever since Sunday, you know, the emotional devastation of this team, I never saw the same team since then till now. And I've known that. And obviously tried really hard to, you know, we tried hard to pick them up and try to say the right things and all that. But, you know, some things are just bigger than words that you can give. And we can criticize, I could criticize and say, well, you know, you should have got over it and became exactly the person, the player, the team that you were before that. But I don't know if that's totally fair. So what I saw, starting that Sunday, every single practice, our first game, the practices since, and in the first half of this game, was a team that's wounded. And again, that's not an excuse for, we lost, they beat us. And by the way, they played great, deserved to win. But I wish, you know, our guys would not have ever had to feel what they felt.
You talked about the other night after Nichols about how it wasn't your strongest performance, but you got through, and then the first half tonight. But then the second half, much better. What changed in the second half?
Well, because I think it's just this, you know, the season's over. So for me, and obviously you can ask questions of this game all you want, which is fine, but to me, that it's not about this game. The season's over. Can't do anything about this game. But this game was lost partially because, you know, we were not the team we have been all year, and that's not to take away from Washington State. They were great, and it's not to say that had we been our normal selves that, well, then we would have won the game. Of course, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is we would not have had a half like that. But what I'm so proud of this team on 100 levels and maybe 101 now, because that was a great effort the second half. You know, I mean, it was. That was licking wounds and digging deep, like we've seen them do many times, and turning the game all the way from 19-4 to a 4-point game. And of course, we couldn't finish, and we didn't finish, and so, you know, they deserve to win. But I'm proud of them for that. I'm not surprised. There was no way, when you know these guys, that they were, you know, they were not going to lay down. But, you know, my thing to them was, I just not to question, you know, it's too late to question, you know, why didn't they get in? But what I told them is that 100,000% by their efforts and their commitment and their togetherness and 100 other things, they played their way into be 100% a deserving participant in the NCAA tournament. And there's just no words that I could ever give them to make that feel better. And I'll probably never get over it for them, you know, not for me. I've been involved in a whole bunch of them, but they have a short career, and especially, you know, you're not ever really supposed to have favorite teams or favorite players when you're a coach, but I've coached a long time, and this one's right up there. I mean, it's hard not to, because you look at some of the incredible personal adversity off the floor many of our guys have had, some well documented, some not. Some are not even talked about. For them to overcome that, and then you look at a team, we brought in 9 new guys, a bunch of transfers who had been the star of their team, to mesh with some freshmen and some guys from last year that had played great for us. That's not necessarily the recipe for a team going to have great chemistry. You know, there's only one ball, and so to watch this group sacrifice for each other, to be unselfish, to show tremendous character, to show tremendous effort, You guys watch this team all year to watch the effort that they gave throughout the whole year. The defensive end were you know, outsized pretty much every night, and were able to neutralize so many nights on the boards. Not tonight. That's the long and the short of the game. Other than, you know, what we've already talked about. Obviously, we got destroyed on the boards, but you know, just so many things that they've been fantastic, and I'm grateful for them, and I'm proud of them, and probably most of all, I hurt for them because they didn't get what they deserved, and that's the hardest part.
Watching Kendrick tonight, 30 points, and who knows if he'll be back or not, but you know, if that's his last game in Moody, I mean, what can you say about that performance, and then just overall looking at what he's accomplished here?
Well, yeah, but you know, if he's not back, what an amazing 3-year run that he's had, and he did that, as we all know, with this year. You know, to be the player of the year on its own is incredibly difficult to do, but you know, we know what all he was going through behind the scenes emotionally. It's kind of mind-boggling, really, that he has that kind of strength and fortitude. But you know, and he also, like everyone else, had to play through a COVID year last year, which is surreal, and you know, found a way to, everybody just kind of plowed through that, even when we got shut down. And you know, he's just been fantastic. I mean, he's just, I don't know how many records he has, but he's been a great player, and we'll see what the future holds. I hope that his future is a long time in basketball. That's my wish for him, and I think that will be the case.
Looking back at kind of this team coming together and this whole season, is there anything that you would change for, you know, whether it was building the team, whether it was, you know, putting it all together, you know, just...
You know, I probably have to think about that. There's nothing on my mind, but you know, I might. There hasn't been something on my mind all along going, you know, I wish we would have done that. But I might after, you know, when you're in the heat of the season, you don't do much. There's not any much reflecting going on. It's just the clock's ticking on the next game and the next practice and all those things. I don't really have that right now, but it may come to me at some point.
Do you have you had any talks with SMU about your future extension?
No, I'm sure, I mean, obviously not during the season, but you know, I'm sure that we'll sit down real soon and have those talks.
Do you expect to be back?
Well,
here?
So you know what, I really don't want to talk about that. What I want to talk about is, because I think that's our eye not on the ball. The ball is the players. Having our eye on the ball is those guys that are in there right now. And we've got guys, their career's done, you know. And so I really don't want it to be anything to be about me, to be honest with you. And I'm just proud of them. I mean, I can't thank them enough. The effort, and when you're on the inside of it, or if you've ever played a full season or coached it or whatever, it's probably so much different than, you know, when you're on the other side of it, because you see firsthand, front row seat of how difficult it is, how difficult when things are even going well, let alone when there's incredible adversity thrown upon guys. And then this team played under tremendous pressure for a long time down the stretch, trying to earn the place, the deserved place to get a bid to the tournament. Incredible pressure. We didn't put it on the board, but it was, you know, we just said, hey, we're all game 7 now. That started a long time ago. And these guys just kept responding, no matter how they felt, no matter, you know, and I heard Bill Walton the other night said, anybody that's playing right now, any kind of minutes is hurting. I mean, that's college basketball. So you play through that. Everybody plays through that. Then you've got the pressure. Then you've got, you know, the difficulties behind the scenes. And so I don't know, I appreciate the heck out of them. I know there's a lot of pain for all of them. I know there's the most pain for the guys whose career come to an end. That is one of the most difficult moments a player ever faces. I can promise you that. That one lasts a while. So that's where my heart is.
You've got a couple of guys, Kendrick and Emmanuel Bandamel, who, if I'm not mistaken, have the option, at least, of coming back for another year. How do you navigate those conversations, helping them decide whether to move to the next chapter of their lives or help SMU by coming back for a year? And do you have to finalize your own future before you even have that talk?
Well, no, we need to start having those talks, but with the players, and I learned a long time ago, and I guess it's not set in stone, but it's something I was taught, and I really believe in that, and it helps simplify it as a coach. It helps simplify some of your decisions. That during the season, once the games start, that every decision you make should be you try to make it for the best of the team. It is in the team's, if this is in the team's best interest, that's what we do. But as soon as the season's over, then every decision that you make or opinions that you give should be in the best interest of the players. So that takes any, you want to try to have no selfish motives, is what I'm trying to say. It is time for us as coaches to try to help every single one of our players make the best decision that they can. Sometimes, in this day and age, and this is one of the saddest things that there's a number of sad things that go on, but tragic maybe is another word, that we do live in a day and age when there is a lot of money involved, and so people that are in the business of trying to recruit your players for their own financial gain sometimes can do their best to convince the players that, well, the coaches, they don't have your best interest in mind, even though you have for every day of their life since they've been here and you're trying to help them succeed. But they, in fact, someone they just met, actually cares deeply about them, even though they've not invested very much. And so they, their first plan of attack is to try to, don't listen to your coach because he just wants you to come back, which is never the case. I say never. I shouldn't say never. I don't know everybody what they say, but I can tell you, all the coaches I know, they want their guys to do what's best for them, and they want them to leave if it's going to be best for them. They want them to be a pro if it's best for them. What they don't want is the tragic ending where people on the outside with nothing to lose convince someone on the inside to just listen to them because they have their interest, and they make a decision that turns out to have very negative connotations in a lifetime. And that is, to me, one of the saddest things that I have witnessed over the years. It's cruel to me. It's cruel. We all need to be, well, there's not enough of this in the world anyway. There's not enough caring about each other in the world anyway. We got way too much negativity, to say the least, in the whole world. But by God, we ought to at least try to care about young people and try to give them, good advice and not selfish advice that only is going to advance me. And maybe that's a good place to start, but that's a whole nother story. But I do feel strongly about that.
What did you tell the team after the game?
Somewhat what I've just said here, that I wish to God I could take. I wish I could have a way to have justice made, what I consider justice, and I told to me, you were 100,000% earned a trip to the NCAA tournament. I won't get into the numbers and the specifics and all that, but that is my true feelings. Not just because I like them so much, but the facts, as I saw it. I don't know how you make a case for leaving them out, and I'm certainly not trying to kick someone else out that was in, but that team should have been. I want them to know you deserved it. I want them to know that we have no excuse for losing, but at the same time I understand today, that sometimes emotional pain doesn't heal with a magic wand or a day and a half. Sometimes it runs pretty deep, and I told them that what I just said to you guys, shouldn't have, you're not supposed to have favorite teams, but this is one of them. This is, I just have so much respect for what I saw, effort, attitude, character, adversity, you name it. So, you know, I'm just so appreciative of them, and that was mainly what I saw.
You've said in years past that one of the tough things about postseason tournaments, whether it's conference tournament or NIT or NCAA, one of the disappointments is that only one team ends it with a victory. But you've also talked about how much you love postseason basketball. Do days like today change your love of postseason basketball?
No, no. I wouldn't say. I mean, every losses are awful. Every loss is just god awful. Ask any player, any coach. They're awful. Everyone hates them, and everyone fears them, and it's the worst. So this is a loss today, so it feels like a loss, but not because of when it was. And actually, it would have, you know, probably felt worse had we gotten what they deserved and then lost. That probably would have felt even worse, you know, in my opinion. So no, that doesn't change that at all. No.